get going. And you said you're pushing into Masters. You're in Masters. Where is this now? Or are you pushing into Diamond? What was it?
I am pushing into Masters, and I'm the McCree
Okay.
named Tenebris in this one.
Sorry, what's that?
I'm the McCree named Tenebris in this
Oh,
one.
sorry. I recognize that name actually. Got it. Okay, got it. I was just in echo mode because that's
Yeah, because I mentioned that. Yeah.
Yes.
Attackers
Minor detail.
30 seconds.
Ash always did hate the food here.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort
Yeah, so your crosshair placement is just a little bit lazy. It's not like wildly bad, but as we look at this, is there going to be an opponent right there?
No.
Okay.
Right, so I could be looking like up at the high ground, looking for someone trying to peek early or something like that.
You
and just
could.
get that early damage, or
Well, yeah. I mean, what you'd look at here is, as I'm walking out of here, is there someone there? Like, I might be worried that there's someone there. I might be worried that there's someone there. I might be worried that there's someone there. But all of those are better than I'm just sort of staring at nothing, right? Like, someone can appear on my screen if I'm holding my crosshair right here. Someone can appear on my screen if I'm holding my crosshair right here or right here. They can't if I'm just staring at the center of a wall effectively. And as you adjust, as you come around, you sort of go, and as I round this, I round it like this, where my crosshair is up where I'd expect someone to be, or down where I'd expect someone to be. But it's there. It's not like at the star, for example. No one's going to be at the star. And then as you get here, you're not staring at the ground. You actually have your crosshair up there. And as you get higher, you bring your crosshair down to adjust as you're walking up to where people's head height would be. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Where does it head?
So like again, that's the ground.
Staring right at the ground. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we can do this. I don't love this roll. I can handle it, but I'm going to actually go with some questions to start. So here we are. We push up. No problem. We take some damage. We're being pressured pretty hard, and we're about to re-peak. What's the status of our team? Where's our team, and what are they doing?
Here, there's not even around the corner yet.
Well, your ball actually is, but your ball's not going in, right? Like, your ball's
Yeah.
going, he's setting up to go in, so he might go in 2 to 3 seconds. Your hog is probably going to go in 2 to 3 seconds. Your Junkrat is threatening. So your Junkrat, you, and Mercy are really the only ones who are threatening right now. Do you want to fight them?
No, it's just going to be shooting shields all day.
Right. So, like, nah, I just won't bother. You're just chancing getting eliminated here. Now you potentially want to fight them, but you're choosing to instead use the time to rotate. Perfectly fine, because you weren't able to safely rotate before. I don't love the roll through here, but I can deal with it. And if we're going to roll through, we're certainly not then going to wait. We, like, bought ourselves time, but now we're... Open your angle further to the left. It's fine. Tuck harder left, yep. Okay. Why did you roll back here? Is it just was it just for reload?
Just the habit and reload.
Okay, that's fine.
I knew my ammo was getting low, and I wanted to reload while she was not visible.
Yeah, no, that's
fine.
fine.
Was still recalling. Okay.
Because where your ammo was, that's reasonable. I don't think we want a shallower angle like that. I think we want to deepen it. But you were doing that primarily for reload, so I'm good. Go ahead.
So the roll was fine, but it would have been better if I had like rolled in a way that didn't close my angle on where that tracer was going to be. Yeah.
I actually would have even just said a backward roll here is preferable. And backward roll, and then
Oh,
you
okay.
walk back forward to rolling back over
Mhm.
here. And the reason for that is I'm not interested in going back here because after we close out on that tracer, you probably want to continue to work your way down here to continue to
Right.
threaten at this deeper angle, and you're moving yourself further back from the future of this team fight.
Yeah, there I think my Deadeye got caught on that bike or something.
Which I'm not too worried about that. Like the Deadeye, I'm really not terribly concerned about here. What's more interesting to me here is that you're still walking forward. Like, what's your plan here? Like, we're gonna beat them because they're retreating, so it's okay. Like, your next cover is that Z sign. You're about to have roll. That's helpful, but like, we're rocking straight at this as opposed to taking the plan that our hog took, which is a much better plan of let's angle out, let's angle out, let's angle out type thing. Like, what's possessing us to walk forward here? You see what I'm saying? Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
was getting really aggressive and wanted that Orisa. It was just greed, I guess, trying to kill that Orisa.
Sure.
And I think I do get it, but
Oh, I'm not surprised that you're going to get her.
mhm.
I kind of expect you to get her, and the reality is I think you're going to be fine because, you know, Mercy's here supporting the two of you. Her whole team clearly is cutting bait and running and just like, no, we're out. So I do think that you're going to get her, but I look at this and go, okay, we can get her, but it would have also been very easy for us to still go, hey, go out here. Is she going to get out if you angle out to the left? Like,
No.
you're actually going to have lots of things, and you're going to be better set up for the future of the fight that's going to happen for more staggers, right? Like if you go
Mm.
forward like this, are there more staggers to be had?
That's just giving them more time. If I go up at that other angle, that's cutting the time, I guess, isn't it?
It is. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, if you like go, hey, I'm over here, you do this, whatever, she's not going anywhere. She's not getting out. Like she's just separating herself more. Or if you go over here, she's not getting across. She's just gonna have to separate herself more, like hiding from your team type thing. So
Yeah,
that's
the
okay.
horse isn't very fast.
Set him up, knock him down.
Transporting the payload.
Okay.
ازيك؟ ازيك؟
It's better. Okay.
And that's how West was won.
Engage.
Nanobot is ready to
That'll
deploy.
get it.
Sure.
That's nice.
Pretty long time to hang out here. It's not, again, the end of the world. Like, you're playing for your fall-off range, I get it. Your Mercy and your Junkrat are here. But, like,
Mhm.
if someone shows up through here, if someone does brute their force way through here, if someone does show up here, your option is basically to, like, drop and hope that you can use this corner as cover, right? Like, you're sort of in this, like, either Mercy's going to save you, or you're going to drop and be behind cover. Whereas, are you losing really anything by threatening that spot from here?
No, not
Right.
at all.
So, like, you know, it was okay. I mean, I was okay with you doing, hey, I'm rolling for sustain for more shots to do that, to clean this up. But you don't have any real reason to stay here at this point. It's like, I've got time. Let me invest, again, in the future fight being, if they do recontest, it's better. I have cover that I can use, that I can very much control. Here, you don't have enough control over your cover.
Okay.
My ultimate is ready. Get in
Better.
there and I will boost you.
Don't move. Now, hold on.
Yeah, I'll talk about this. I wouldn't usually talk about this until a little bit higher, but we'll talk about this. So here you are, and you go for this, and Do you flash this because it moved? Do you flash this because you think your hog is going to hit a follow-up hook after you flashed it? Talk me through this.
Yeah, I'm seeing it move, so my thought process is that he probably has hookup. It's been a while since I saw him go after that
Okay.
McCree, so I figured
So you're thinking
maybe
your
he
hog will
could.
follow up on this. Okay. If your
Yeah.
hog wasn't here, would you have flashed this?
Maybe off of habit, if anything.
Okay. So yeah, so that's a habit, that completely understandable habit, but we want to be careful about Hammond because he can pretty reliably eat your flash, get
Right.
out, get a health pack, and come back and challenge you with adaptive shield and full health, right?
Hmm.
So
Yes,
just okay,
exactly.
cool. Perfectly fine here. You expected your hog would be able to follow up on it.
Don't move.
But in the future, it's better to save that flash for something that's going to get impacted a little more heavily by it, like
Right.
that Kree that was coming out. Okay.
Right, exactly. And if Ball was coming through, like if Ball was engaging your team, absolutely. But like if Ball is challenging you on a flank, usually you're actually in a situation of he kind of wins. If he's like, hey, you flash and he gets out, that's not great for you.
Right. Well, luckily they don't come out until my flash is already dead.
Now, hold on. And that's how the West was born.
You have everything you need right here. I don't know why you're here. It's fine. You got it. I don't know why you're here. And now you're sort of booped, and it's taking you longer to get out now because you sort of went over here. And did you get anything by going over here rather than playing from here?
That extra step put me in a really bad spot.
Right. We really are going to play a little bit tighter on our cover because we get punished. Roll is not a super long range ability.
Thought I wasn't gone. Don't move.
Angle left, angle... Whoa.
Don't move.
Okay. So you're playing a little fast and loose, which I can deal with because, hey, you're sort of staggering them. They're in a full retreat. But now you're empty. You've got no abilities left, right? Now you've got the Mercy Pocket, and you are staggering them. But now there's that Pharah. So we might be thinking we want to be in the open to fight the Pharah because it's a little harder for her to hit her rockets. But, like, do we really want to be here?
No, I don't have any rolls or anything. She could just two-shot me if I'm not careful.
Right. So, like, we just immediately want to tuck on this truck, and this is fine with us because we want to work our way up the side for this position anyways. This is our power position for the back half of this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get ourselves not dancing in the open.
Securing the payload.
Yeah, I sat here for a while.
You do. Okay. Okay. That's probably a fan. Yeah, I mean, you probably fanned that at 4, but okay. You get a couple headshots, so it works out.
But in the scenario where I don't get those headshots, it would have been better value to do the fan? Or
It would have been better value to do the fan. Obviously, you do more damage with 4 individual shots than you do a 4 ammo fan, but you're factoring in your follow-up of then having your next clip ready, etc.
Right.
And 4 is your breakpoint for that. We would not have said that at 3. Okay. Sure. Roll out, fine. And then you get caught in the open. No, you're not caught in the open. Sorry, let me turn you up just a little bit. One more time.
Yeah, I got scared that they were all pushing up, and then my Junkrat, he didn't call that tire, but it fixed the problem.
It did fix the problem, but I totally understood why you dropped. Yes.
Then here I make the decision that that's the program.
Yep.
No, commission ready.
Angle for the left. Good.
It's hot. It's hot.
Sure. You need to close angle again. Yeah. careful with that.
The flash file was empty. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a habit that can get you in trouble.
Yeah, I had an issue with that on another this game right before this match. I kept flashing a tracer as I was out of ammo.
Yep.
Because that's when she went in.
Yep. And they start counting your. I mean, you will have
I'm
your
pretty
shots
sure
counted.
It happens so often. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
But good on them for that, I guess.
And that's how the West.
Okay. So the biggest thing we're seeing by far is your. I mean, if I were to give it a broad category, it would be you sort of need to be thinking a little further ahead once you're winning or once you've won than you are in terms of where do I want to be for the future. But if I were to get more specific, the thing that's hitting you more often is you're a little too fast and loose with cover. What's cover? Let me just, not even run it up mid, but sort of run it up mid type thing where it's like, hey, I'm going to play in the open. It's fine. Where, okay, you're chancing bad things happening that you don't really need to be here. We're obviously continuing through here, but this is just me sort of summarizing what we're seeing. We have a little bit of a flag with that oops, you flashed when you were on your reload there and telling me that you ran into another thing. So that's certainly on our, hey, we're going to pay attention to this list. But for now, like how much you're willing to play in the open, not really with a huge awareness of where your cover is the thing that is most likely to long-term get you punished. But let's continue. Unless you have anything you want to go over so far.
So far, no. I feel like I was, I don't know, maybe more careless because of the mercy pocket. She was very. She was on me. She was really good about that. But
and that should cause you to be more aggressive. But being more aggressive, while it can mean going into cleanup staggers a little earlier, more aggressive is like, hey, instead of playing from here, I'm going to play from here with a deeper angle. It's not instead of playing from here, I'm going to play from here. Like, yes, this is more aggressive. It's a little bit of a wider angle against a few of them.
It's not smarter.
Exactly. Like, let's actually get the value, because otherwise you're sort of forcing her to stick to you because your positioning got stupid, and that's costing her the ability to leave to go boost a Junkrat mine, to go boost a hog hook, to go boost a Hammond pile drive, because your positioning isn't really better, it's just riskier, which we don't really want. We're taking away from her value and still risking our own life.
Right.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds. Ready for battle.
I was gonna sit up here, but then I figured Hog would
1.
do his thing, so I think I'd run away here.
Okay.
And use a couple seconds.
Stop the payload.
Let's get a move on.
I'd have probably still said keep it with what we saw, but that's okay. He does. Okay, fine.
Damn it.
Discord appropriately.
That'll get it done.
Oh boy. Good adjust. Sorry, what was that?
I got lucky there with the Hog. Was
Oh yeah, a
worried
little
that
bit.
he missed the hook. Yeah.
Little bit.
Did not anticipate him being that far up.
Easy.
And you're kind of blind here. So like you're looking at this. So were you like pre-throwing this when you rounded the corner, or did you throw it knowing that he was at that distance?
It was more of a like pre-throw, yeah.
Okay.
I knew that he was in that doorway. I just wasn't sure how close. So yeah, it was more of a Hail Mary, definitely.
Okay. Because I feel like even if you connect with this flash, you're not going to get enough damage on him to make it worth it, unless you're also going to commit your roll, and then it just gets messy. Like, you're not going to be able to fan him from here, and you're going to double headshot him, and that's not going to be enough to really put him, like, he's just not going to be terrified at that point, right? He's got the cover against you. You can't really chase him across unless you use roll. So probably don't even want to spend my flash here because it's just leaving you vulnerable and you're not getting 400 damage into him in exchange for it, which is kind of what we need with a hog for it to be meaningful.
Easy. My ultimate is charged.
Right, like sure would be nice to have those abilities right now.
And that's how the Westers work.
Open from behind. You cleared the Discord.
That's me being worried about the hog. Yeah.
I know, I know.
It's high noon.
Yeah.
It's
This is right.
I get a little energetic there.
You do. Like, this did not need to happen even remotely. And even when you do see it here, there's still time to go right and break his hook. But this is greed. Unfortunate. Okay.
I've got unfinished business.
Sniper, be careful.
Okay, we're taking out second. Fine.
Thanks. Put it on my tab.
Nope. Don't repeat. No.
You should be at peak performance levels.
And that's how the Westers work.
I played the numbers game a couple times in this video.
You play the numbers game, meaning. What
Oh,
exactly?
I sit out there and I just hope she doesn't hit a shot. I don't know if that's like
Got it. Yeah.
a problem or if.
Usually not great. So what it's going to come down to, though, is it's going to come down to an opportunity cost thing. Like this you go for, no problem, we're fine.
And that's
This
how
you go
the
for and you know
Westers
she's not
work.
looking at you and your Hammond is engaging. While your Hammond is engaging, no problem, you should be contributing to this fight. In fact, if you wanted to roll, because this is, still the moment when they're distracted, to go, no, I need more shots right now, we could live with that. Now our Hammond's left, but the tire's potentially going in. She has to deal with that. You sort of want to keep some eyeballs locked on you, even though it's risking your life. Like, no, pay attention to me type thing. Or, don't pay attention to me and I'll eliminate you while you pay attention to the tire. Whatever, doesn't matter to you. So this is potentially fine too.
I'm gonna miss my roll. Yeah, that was a mistake.
And then you miss the roll. Yeah. But it's only because of the, active things that are going on there that sort of get chained together that becomes okay to challenge the Widow like that. Well, this is interesting.
I wanted to go. Yeah, I wanted to go try and kill him.
Sure.
This is not your time.
Would it have been better to fan there since I had the damage boost, or at that range?
On me.
This is
Yeah, I'm so
awkward.
low, but-
So this is like, yes, if you're comfortable in your fan mechanics, it's not like you have any fall off on fan here that's going to be a problem, and you can keep the full 4-bullet fan on him. Like if you're comfortable with your fan mechanics, you can. But this is not this range. This range, like you're just not going to mess up fan. This is like sort of borderline where like this is a perfectly doable fan, but you have to be comfortable with containing all 4 bullets here, which you can probably do. I just don't know how much you've done with your fan, etc.
I don't fan very often. I have a
Okay.
habit of not fanning. I
Okay.
usually only fan his shields.
Okay. So this is the sort of thing where you look at this and yeah, we'd have probably said, hey, let's hit our quick fan. You do get more damage by doing this, but obviously he gets more time to do things like heal, etc. So that's sort of your trade-off.
I've got you better.
And no, your fan is unlikely to have actually... No, your fan would not have finished him there in either situation. If you'd had 6 bullets, it may have, but it would not have with the 4 you had. Okay.
Here, I don't know really what to do because I'm worried about that angle because that happens, but I just kind of stand around for a bit.
Taking care of you.
So you sort of have a decision to make of like, am I going to do this? Well, this doesn't really help. So what you're sort of looking at here is you feel like you can stand here because your Junkrat is addressing this angle. And you correctly
Mhm.
adapt that you can't when your Junkrat goes down. But rather than stand here, this gives us a cover option sort of against that, right?
Uh-huh.
But also lets us potentially go, hey, can we address over here? Or hey, can we address over here and do something? Like, I don't love standing here when our option is this, is sort of where I'm getting to here. Like, I
Right.
look at this and go, can we have a better option to address this while still having influence over here? Or can we go, we just don't like this, so let's maybe adjust, etc. Like, we don't want to play a super long range because then the Widow is going to
Mhm.
be a problem if she's coming through there, and I totally recognize your concern. I just don't like that you now are in like well, I had cover in my Junkrat's gone. Well, now you're just forced into, you have to pay attention to this. And sure, you can back yourself up to here so that you're only having to address the McCree. You're not also having to address the team. But like,
Mhm.
you can't choose not to take this fight at this point. You've got
Right.
nothing cover-wise. He has all the control over whether you do this fight or not. Now you have the Mercy, which is pretty cool, but he has all the control.
Thank you kindly.
Good.
Da ich wieder.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was.
You only took the one. You only took the one.
I saw red and my brain just.
Yeah, I get it. Fine, you have your angle.
I don't know what to run from that view there. I could have finished him off with a late shot. I had the damage boost, but I guess I got scared of something. I don't know. No, yeah,
Sorry, you're
I've
saying
mostly-
you don't know why you didn't push this harder?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why I didn't like finish him. I like took cover and I'm not sure if I was. Scared
Yeah, I
of
was
something.
surprised that you backed off here as well. Like, you're both scared, and I totally understand why you're both scared. But like, you do have the Mercy pocket, and we do have to take advantage of the fact that we have the Mercy, right? Like, this is reasonable positioning, but this isn't like this positioning where we've gone like super aggressive on them type thing, and we pretty quickly need to go, okay, let's do this, let's take advantage, let's push again. Yeah, no idea what that's about.
Feel like a man possessed. It's time.
That wasn't coordinated at all. That was
West
just.
was what?
But you
on our
took
balls,
advantage of
so-
it. It's fine.
Yeah, I get hooked.
You do. You do. And this sort of becomes a, hey, we did this. This is appropriate.
Double kill.
Yep.
Yeah, I felt
And
all
that's
cool
how the
afterwards and wanted
West
to
was won.
get more kills.
Of course, of course. You're like, let me turn it into a play of the game thing. And, you know, that's cool and all. I mean, at least he did have to do a jumping hook for it. We'll deal. I'm not too worried about you pushing up there. Like, yes, you could have you could have perfectly maintained where you were, and your team was very likely to win. You could contribute, but you didn't have any shots. So I'm not going to be too harsh on us pushing up there. Especially given that, you know, Mercy, etc. No, we are not going to challenge them through the window. Time. Not time. Just like, how do I want to put this? So you go through a very rapid assessment decisions you have to make here, where there's a window we don't want to fight. Your ball just explosively went out. You don't want to go out quite yet because you don't want fire that's meant for him to hit you. But now you would want to go out because he's going in and he's using, not only is he engaging, he's using his minefield. So you need to peek and contribute right now. Now you go, well, I don't want to peek and contribute because there's Transcendence and Widow's Kiss, or, you know, Infocyte both going on, and we don't like those things. Probably just wait that out, honestly. Like, probably don't even go chance that. Just like, it sucks, but they've probably got this, and if anyone's going to stall it, it's going to be your ball, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it would have been better to just keep that position rather than sacrifice it to poke Arisa here?
Yeah, well, can you poke
Okay.
Orisa when there's a Transcendence on the board?
Nah, I
Right.
cannot.
And now you're like, aha, let me poke again. And it's like, wait, Infosight's still going, man. You don't want to challenge on this angle. If you can challenge on this angle, but you can't challenge on this angle while Infosight's still going. You don't know exactly where she is, but you know that she could hit you when you drop tier. So, like, it's pretty likely she's back there unless she just used Grappling Claw. Fortunately, now your ball is going to tie her up, which is a little lucky, we could say.
Yeah, that was. Look, I did not know he was going on her.
Okay. Okay.
Move.
Better engage angle for you.
And that's how the West will work.
You're just going to have to go to cart. Go to cart? No, he's getting out. Okay, fine. Okay, where are you setting up for? Not what I'd have said. Okay, so you're leaving. You decide to get out rather than stop cart. Totally fine. Where's the next fight going to happen?
Right at the doors, if anything.
Right at the
Right?
doors.
At the doors where the doors open
These
there,
doors?
or would it be? Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna have a fight here. Like your Junkrat might be interested in it, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, hey, you have 3 people in spawn. I don't think a fight's happening at the doors. So
Right.
maybe a fight's happening here. This is a commonplace. Maybe they're gonna snowball through because of spawn timers, and the fight's gonna happen here. Maybe you guys are going to stop them super quick and the fight is going to happen like here, a little before. But somewhere in like this general range is where the fight's going to happen. And your
Right.
judgment of exactly where does change the positioning a little. But like, where can you think to yourself, hey, do you have time? Let me just cheat for a second. This is the most powerful spot for a McCree to control the fight that happens on this corner, right? So you have to decide, A, is there time for you to get this spot? And B, if you go get this spot early, are you going to get punished for it by the other team getting here before your team gets here? What do you think?
Here I would not get punished. No.
Okay.
The
Okay.
doors opening. I don't think so.
So what we'd want to do then is we would want to go, hey, let's walk across real quick, try to circle up here, and then maybe we just lurk here, crouching, waiting for our team to show up. Maybe we don't, but we're going to get ourselves to here to be here to take this when this happens. Instead, what you're doing is you're going, hey, let me look over here for if, someone's pushing through. I'm just not too worried. Like, yes, it is possible for their Widow to come up here, and as the fight is coming through and about to happen here, the Widow gets the jump on you guys and circles behind and, like, widows someone. That's absolutely possible. But, like, that's, like, the only real thing I'd be worried about addressing. Like, a tank chasing your Junkrat? We're mostly in the who cares territory, in my opinion. Does the maybe helping prevent something happen here outweigh the benefit of getting yourself positioning here or here?
No, it does not. My
Right.
Junkrat can probably handle himself fine there. And that's
You got it. You got it. And now you're going to play truck instead. And truck is a good point for the good positioning for like second fight on third point, but it's pretty weak for this first fight that's going to happen, right?
Yeah. My fall off is just abysmal.
Yep.
And then I get
Yeah.
You look like you've seen a ghost. Watch your blood. And that's how the West was won. And that's how the West was won.
Your positioning isn't terrible, but you're getting nothing by being here rather than like 3/4 of a step to your left. See what I'm saying? Where it's just like,
yeah, my Rhine has moved up there. I
right.
should have probably taken a
Like,
wider angle.
You may be worried about like, oh, well, I might be vulnerable to some damage from here. No, I want your cover. And if you're really worried about that, well then, if you're really worried about that, then instead adjust 2 steps to your right. But you've still got like, hey, I can play around this hog. If the hog tries to close the angle, maybe then I open the angle further type thing. But you can't break hooks right now. And if you take damage from something, you can't take cover before the follow-up shot potentially hits you. And you're just a little too loose on your cover in general when you play. hi, Widow.
I did not see her.
Yep,
Yeah.
all good.
Like
That's really just tracking what your opponents are, because like Widow was never going to stay down main, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was always either going to come up here or somehow sneak her way back through like here or something. You know, like she could temporarily be here, but she didn't want to with this team when she has a Zenyatta and an Orisa. She wasn't going to stack like, oh well, let me just play. No, that was never going to be a thing. All good.
Bora always says to take the bigger angles.
Yeah, yeah. Now you know where she is.
Thanks. Put it on my tab.
That's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of panic.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do at that point. It's not a big deal.
Into the iris.
Ready for battle. Ready. Ready for battle.
Okay. Oh, you guys had a fun time on this map, I see. We're barely halfway through at our 3 to 3.
I figured I'd pick a longer game because I
Works for me.
felt like there's a lot in here.
Keep an eye on your health and call for me if you need assistance. Keep an eye on your health and call for me.
Stop the
Just,
payload.
you know, crosshair reminder.
Oh, that'll do fine.
Damage boost engaged. Taking damage.
Let's see, we're gonna start it one more time. Because you're pretty ineffective here. Your hog did start there. Okay.
Oh, that'll do fine.
Damage boost engaged. Taking damage.
Okay. So it's been a good 20 seconds. When was it actually safe to engage this team? Because this has probably felt pretty like, how do I fight this Widow, right? Yes, no, maybe so.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah,
Okay.
it felt a little confusing as to how to engage you. I didn't really
Sure.
know how to go about the fight.
So we actually solved
just
this.
kinda
We
took the
actually
space.
solved this earlier in the match, but I don't think at any point in this game, because we just watched it from your perspective, I think there was like a couple seconds where you knew where your Hammond was, and the rest of the time you didn't. You can see your Hammond through walls. You know, that's the nice thing about you can see your teammates through the walls in Overwatch. So like we just watched this, and you just sort of were like, I guess I'll follow up when my hog gets a hook type thing. But if we rewatch this from third person, we're gonna see that the story is a little bit different. Your Hammond did go in a couple times. So here we are. Shoot, your Hammond just did something, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And you were behind. So as your Hammond is doing this, he's hitting people. You're not aware that that's what's happening, and this is an angle. You have your angle closed right now, when this is sort of when you'd most want your angle to be open. So that's not amazing. Oh, and now your Hammond sort of left, and you're fighting. And it's like not the end of the world to be fighting right now, but like you know that your Hammond isn't in right now. He's probably going to go back in pretty soon because he popped adaptive shield, and he'll want to get some value out of the longer adaptive shield that they now have. But like, we don't want to go back. We want to make sure we can peek, that we have ammo when he goes back in. Oh look,
Right.
your Hammond is in, and now you're sort of in type thing. And yeah, that's better. And you still get shot by the Widow, and that happens, and I'm not too worried. But my point here is when it's safe to peek, when you get into high-level poke battles, is when someone else peeks, which sort of starts up a leapfrog type thing for you, or when one of your divers or flankers makes a move, because it's going to pull some. It's not going to pull 6 people's attention to them, but it's going to pull 3 people's attention to them, 4 people's attention to them. It's going to, even with Widow, who didn't move her crosshairs even slightly for that Hammond, has a little bit more of a distraction on her mind when that Hammond is in, right?
Right. Okay.
So that's sort of when you want to time these things. And you just had, we can tell sort of very little awareness of, well, when, and these guys, you might have some awareness of when your Junkrat is making a distraction that offers you an opportunity to peek, or when your Hog's shooting over here and that gives you an opportunity to shoot over here. You might have some of that, but we're not paying quite enough attention to what your single biggest distraction, which is Hammond, did this comp, is doing for you.
Let's start over at the beginning.
You should be at peak
That'll get
performance
it
level.
done.
The payload has reached the
Personne n'échappe à
Time.
mon regard.
30 seconds remaining.
We got it. Hold on a little longer.
Thanks.
Good.
10 seconds remaining.
Close the angle. Your ball's going to go in. Ball's going in. Follow it. Now. This, on the other hand, was definitely a fan. He's close enough to you. You might be like being a step closer, sure, but he's close enough to you. You've got 5 shots. You're going to want to fan this one.
Could that have maybe saved me from him, or do you think he would have still lived with the Zen Orb and gotten the shot?
Hold up.
I think probably what's going to happen... Oh, let's go back here one more time. I mean, this is the sort of thing where if you do this, it's still probably not. Not probably. It's still probably, even with the Mercy boost, it's probably not going to eliminate him. But now you're reloaded. If you fanned him, now you're reloaded. And now can you finish him with the next shot? Can you finish him with... Right, that sort of thing.
Better odds, at least.
Right.
Back in the saddle again.
You should be at peak performance level.
That'll do fine.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Okay. So, we see this is happening. At this point, we accept that second point is surrender. Fine.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Could we go up here and think about playing here? Are we going to think about playing here? Or are we going to go, there's not time to do that, so we're going to hop up and play here? I'm perfectly okay if we hop up and play here. But, again, go ahead.
What I did here, I didn't actually know that that was the best position to play McCree up in that area. I was worried about Widow as well, so I figured that little high ground right in front of me would have been better at that point.
Good. I'm perfectly fine with that. This transition up to the high ground would be pricey right now, so all good. Oh no, now you're going to go back here. That's less good. Okay. So yeah, we would have expected that, hey, based on where things are, we expect the fight is going to happen around here, and we can be pretty annoying to them from here. wouldn't necessarily expect us to push into them right there, but that's what your team is doing.
Maintain connection.
Yeah, I think I then realized that I made a mistake. And I walked all the way back.
You did make a mistake. I'd say your team also made a mistake. This is not the right engage from them.
Hold up now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's a little nasty.
I thought our hog might be able to just
Sure.
for me to get this rolling.
Possessed.
This is you not counting your shots, because you wouldn't have fanned that with 2 shots.
And that's how the West was won.
No, no, no. You don't get to repeat that. So, like, you did this, and you took your shots, and he's already 2 charged on you. Like, he's already 2 charged on you for you to be like, I'm going to peek, and I'm going to try to finish off what I did. Generally, once you've left line of sight on a charging McCree like that, you don't really get to... Like, you can greed as much as you feel is appropriate before you've left line of sight, but once you've left line of sight, you have to do any amount of target reacquisition. You know, you show up to him before, like, based on how he's charging, before you've perfectly shown up, before he's perfectly shown up to you. It's just not worth repeaking these things. I'm glad that you didn't get caught, but yeah. Okay, so we got the stop. A little painful, but we got the stop.
I will strike out.
Ready. Ready.
I'm taking care of you.
5, 4,
Damage.
3,
Engage.
2, 1.
Much obliged.
Attackers incoming.
Thank you. Thank you,
Spot
kind.
the payload.
Keep an eye on your health and call me if you need assistance.
Okay, so what's your ball up to right now?
He is still setting up at this point.
Right, and it's possible that he's distracting opponents, and it turns out he is. They really don't like him. Bappin Zen and Widow are all like, no, we don't want to let you set up. And hey, sometimes him rotating like that is going to be enough pressure for you. But you actually want to do those peaks when he's going through the most vulnerable portions of his rotation, if you're going to do that, because those are the times that they want to shoot at him. Saw Genji went in, so hopefully we're going in. Ball's back there.
Thanks. Put it on my tab.
Okay. You know where Widow is, go left.
Don't move. Payload secure. Move out. My ultimate's ready.
Yeah, okay.
Don't move.
Like, who's this for? Is this just like, I feel like... What's that?
The flash or
Yeah.
yeah, I saw the red and thought they might have been close enough, but I realized as I was throwing it that crew was too far, so I swapped to the Orisa instead.
Okay.
Don't move.
Yeah.
Payload
Too
secure.
slow to
Move
realize
out.
though.
And then, do you feel like at this point you want to keep backing this way, or does it feel better to back this way at this point? And the reason I say that is this sort of gives you a little bit better to play around. It's like a little bit steeper of an angle that you're going to get against them. Like, this is a... How do I want to describe this? Well, you're then going to back up, so it's not perfect. But, like... Here you are, you're doing this, and this is a little awkward because it sort of slowly opens and closes because it's a sort of long thing. It's not a sort of extreme angle close. This gives you a little more extreme angle close option, but the other piece to it is it's just a little bit deeper of an angle on them. So unless you're worried about them going behind and punishing you, which I'm really not at this point, like your team is very, very close, and this team can't go this way and chase you. This is probably slightly more interesting, but I'm getting very nitpicky.
No, I like this. That's good.
This is not your time.
Easy.
Little robbed. Those just never feel good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Take cover. Operating at optimal.
Wait, Mercy.
I mean, even if you don't get the Mercy res, you're fine with how that cleanup happened, and you've got the nearby spawn. Not the end of the world. Now we're taking the left. We just needed to not have an Orisa in the middle to distract us into going main.
Shiny object.
Yeah. Push, yep. He's here. You're still gonna force the fight. Okay. You can't fight her.
That'll get it
Can't
done.
fight her. Why?
I'm peeking here to get damage on the hog. I thought I could get a little more. My ult's already charged. I don't know why I was doing it. At this
Yeah, no,
point,
I'm actually
looking
good
back
with
on
this.
it.
Like, I'm just not willing to open this angle more. Like, I'm perfectly willing to be like, hey, I'm like this, and if Hog's available, I'll shoot him. Though, but I'm just surprised that you actually open it as far as you do. Like, Hog isn't available, so you open the... I'll go show it one more time.
Oh, and open it to the extent of letting that widow see me? Is that what's...
Right. This is fine. I got no problem with what you're doing right now. You know where that widow is now. We've just established that. Hog's not there for you. It sucks, but we're kind of done. You follow what I'm saying? This, you opening it more to find a target, this is surprising to me. Well, especially because you actually did have the option to be here and be like, oh, I'm going to fight the BAP and the Orisa. Okay. As opposed to, like, we can have 2 targets on our screen. We can have 1 target on our screen. We've put 4 targets on our screen. Huh. Maybe don't do that. Okay. Now, obviously, there was always halt risk, but... What's up?
I don't know why I walked out here. I was scared. I got fixated on the hog.
You did. Like, I'm not really convinced that you... I'm very convinced that you did not want to come out for the hog, in fact. It's like, yes, you can fight the hog, but, like, from here, you can shoot at the Orisa and the BAP... Or, excuse me, what are we looking at? Yeah, the Orisa and the Brig just fine here. Like, okay, let's take our shots this. Again, if we can limit the number of people that can see us, even if it gives us a slightly worse targeting option, that's generally going to be worth it. This is weird, and then... Yeah, so bad. fine. Not sure why we were sitting in the middle of the lane, but okay.
Thank you kindly.
30 seconds remaining.
Okay.
Do you think it would have been better to go deeper onto that angle
I'd
I
have
said and like
repicked
sit in
this.
that room?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'd have actually
okay.
repicked this. I'd have gone here, waited a second, and then said repick it. That's what I was pausing over.
Hold up.
And balls with it.
Rendezvous in my position.
Okay. So, looking at this, the things that are sort of going to be in the, hey, what do you do to play better? How do you improve category? There's a couple places we could go. The first thing is going to be the most obvious thing, the thing that, we're not necessarily looking at this game and going, this is what put this specific game in the W column. That's not really what we care about. We care about winning you games in general, that we could talk about things to win this specific game, and if you did all of these, yes, you would have won this game. But what we're looking at is you just get further away from cover than really makes sense. We can think of that as, hey, you're opening angles to shoot at 4 people when 1 person will do, but we can also just think of that as, hey, you're fighting a hog, and like breaking hog hooks is pretty hard these days because hog hook, really, I mean, it doesn't quite pull you through walls most of the time, but like it does have some give to it. And hog hook just makes a good proxy for if you can't break a hog hook, you weren't going to be able to stop that second or third shot from hitting you either, right?
Right, yeah, okay.
So, like, if you're far enough away from cover that you can't break a hog hook, and that basically means if cover isn't taking up 30-40% of your screen, you probably aren't actually safe. There's actual real chance of taking you down. Now, sometimes you're going to give up that cover. Sometimes you're going to go, hey, I'm pursuing staggers and it's fine. Or I'm rotating to a new position. I'm deepening my angle. I'm rotating out, whatever. All of those are perfectly fine things. But when we're somewhat stationary, and I don't mean stationary standing still, I mean stationary as in we're operating in a sort of area, we really do want to have that cover kind of comfortable as like a security blanket taking up part of our screen, because it means, oh, the Widow didn't headshot us, she body shot us, we can cover against it. Oh, the Zen, we see the 5 orb coming, a couple of the orbs catch us, but we're able to close it. The Zen can't drag a 5 orb in the direction against your cover if him dragging it actually puts you behind cover, right? So like those sorts of things. So that's like just, we're going to increase your survivability. We want you to do that by just more generally, when you're not rotating, when you're not deepening an angle, going, hey, cover should be taking up part of my screen. I shouldn't be, again, and we'll go back to the example just because that'll help it sink in your memory. We shouldn't be here. We should be here or, potentially here type thing, not here. That's sort of what we're looking at here. So that's the first thing that we're going to cover. The second thing that we're going to cover is we want you to think about the next fight. And we don't necessarily we want you to think about the next fight between fights, but we also want you to think about the next fight as you're cleaning up a fight. I don't want to pull all of your brain power off of the cleanup, because you do still need to do things. You can get punished in a 6v3 and, get eliminated when you shouldn't. But you do need to be thinking about, where is the next fight going to take place and how am I going to set up to either have the most influence in that next fight or potentially to make it hard for them to get the positions that they want for the next fight. So that would be factoring very hard into the, can I get up here? No? Can I get up here? Okay, cool. That would factor very hard into the, okay, we're pushing through here. Maybe let me give it another second. Maybe we're here. We won the first fight. Do I want to be here for the second fight, or do I want to be here for the second fight, where I can transition between these two places? Like, and the next fight, remember, there might be only like a 6-second gap between fights, because sometimes fights are like, okay, they left and their person comes back and then they sort of re-push back in type thing. So next fight can be a somewhat broad term. Team fights are a thing that we recognize in Overwatch, but they don't have a like perfect scientific definition. So we want to be looking when we're in the cleanup phase, when we've sort of won a fight, when we're between fights, where is this next fight going to take place? And this was another one where it's like, okay, you can go and push and clean up this Orisa potentially, but you're probably going to get her either way, and you can deepen your angle over here to be more impactful on stopping their people that are respawning from getting to the positions that they want, which are this to take the next team fight, right?
Okay.
So, like,
Yeah.
I want a little bit more thought. This is the same sort of thing where in that time, you might already be using that time to go, well, let me think about what ults they have, or let me think about how I want to set up my ult. But I'd actually be okay with that, because if you were thinking about how do I want to set up my ult, that would be you using that between team fight time to go, where do I need to position? Where's the team fight going to happen? And it'll probably, as a side note, actually upgrade your ults in some situations, not all of them, because a lot of the time you'll use the ult as a reload, you'll use it as shield break, you'll use it to cover a rotate, but it'll give you another way to use your ult well. But like if you're generally thinking about between fights, where is the next team fight going to happen, and what spot is going to give you either good influence over that team fight or make it hard for the opponents to, put the opponents under pressure as they're trying to rotate into the spots that they want to do, that we want to have for the team fight to happen. And you know them because you've played both sides of every map hundreds of times at this point, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? That's like a not super, super precise topic that I'm giving you there. Like it is. It's think about the next team fight, but like what you need to do with it. Does that make sense to you? Do you feel like you have enough there to chew on that one?
Yeah, yeah. I think I
Okay.
understand it. Just having a better understanding of where they're going to be, and then thinking to already be there so I can start pressuring them
Right.
as soon as I can, as
Right.
soon as possible
And
off
that
chain state.
doesn't mean that you're going to peak them 1v6, 2v6, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It means you're pressuring them on your rotation back in, and or you were able to get to a position, like say this one, that you might not have been able to get to later once they were here. And this is just the best example on this map. But you could do the same thing where we could talk about if you were attacking, maybe you'd get over here when you would struggle to get to this on attack later in the map, etc. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, and then if we were to go into a third thing here, we could talk about your ammo count. We could talk about you tracking your ammo count a little better. We could talk a little bit about your crosshair placement, but I don't think that's necessary yet. At some point you'll clean it up a little bit, but it's not the lowest hanging fruit for you, and it's not terrible by any means. What I'd probably talk about actually is doing a better job of tracking your team's engagements. And I don't mean like you're engaging when your team is AFK and spawn, because you're mostly not doing that. I mean
Mm-hmm.
when your team actually gives you explosive windows. So that's a ball going in. That's an Orisa throwing a halt. That's a hog going up a side and, throwing in a hook type thing. Like you want to be a little more conscious in some of these poke wars, because that's who I think you're probably struggling with. You're probably feeling like you're struggling on McCree a little bit more now because of the hit scan fall off is making Widow Ash better relative to you than they used to be in some of these fights. I suspect that's what you're feeling given what we were talking about before we started doing the
Yeah.
review. Um, and your solution to that is just a good principle of Overwatch. If you really want to have that understanding of, like, again, you're not peeking wildly into terrible situations, like the team fight is happening, your teammates are relevant, but you want to peek when your ball does something, when your Genji dashes through, when these things happen, you want to be loaded with health, ready to peek. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Okay.
Rather than wasting the opportunity.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So that's what I'd give you here. Do you have any questions, concerns, other topics you want to get into? Do all those make sense to you? Do you feel like you have a way to go, hey, you can work on this one, then on this one, then on this one, and like try to implement them one at a time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
feel like I've been given a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Uh,
Good. Go ahead.
as for questions, I just like with my fans, should I like be more worried about that, or should I wait on that and then just try to work on?
No, I'm not super worried about it. I've actually
Okay.
looked at some statistical analysis on fan, and it's true at the very, very top, the people who fan less actually do better in terms of SR margins, etc. But I can tell you that, like, from a standpoint of like, okay, that's true, but that doesn't look to be true for amazing. I don't want to say for amazing reasons. There are places where fan is objectively the right move, and it's fine. It's just higher probability for accomplishing much the same thing. But that more has to do with how much. How do I want to put this? That it has to do with, okay, what range are you at? How much is in your clip, etc. So you'd have to be doing a little better job with your ammo counting before that makes sense. And right now, it seems like you're pretty darn comfortable hitting those 1 to 2 headshots after a flash. Like you're doing a good enough job of that, that I'm not too worried about it. There are still absolutely times when it's going to make sense to fan. Like it absolutely makes sense to fan a hog that you flash at short range when you have 6 shots. But no, I wouldn't put that anywhere near the top of your list right now.
Okay, so at the top, just making sure that I close and reopen angles a little more efficiently then? Would
Well, at the
that be
top,
like a
I'd
first thing?
say stay tighter on your cover. Like literally
Yeah,
stay
okay.
tighter on the cover is the first thing I'd put there for your list. The second
Okay.
thing that I would put for your list would be really thinking about the next fight, between fights, in the cleanup. And the third thing that I would put here would be thinking a little bit more about when your teammates are doing the most explosive portions of their engage, especially when playing into other poke comps.
All right. Awesome.
Cool. Cool. Okay, then we will call this one here.